This is a research onion that has an overview picture of what is research philosophy. So under research philosophy, as a summary, there are typically four types of research philosophy approach. So you have positivism, realism, interpretivism, and pragmatism. So if you are using positivism research philosophy approach, right, it shows that from your ontological perspective, there's probably at least one singular truth, and you're using an epistemology stance of a quantitative data. So usually it has a numerical data, something that is quantifiable, measurable. Okay, and if you look at this research onion, positivism, it's placed on it's aligned with the numerical data collection method. So you've got this quantitative method. You either do a survey, you do an experiment, and so on. So remember at the beginning of the video lecture by Dr. Erna, she mentioned that your research philosophy guides how you want to collect your data to validate your beliefs, right? So it's important that you are clear with your ontological stance and also your epistemological stance to determine your research philosophy, which is the outer layer of this onion. So the second research philosophy, you look at realism research philosophy. The epistemology stance would be qualitative, right? And the ontological stance would be that there could be multiple truths. So in this picture, if you look at this picture, right, you see the squares and you see what color is it. From a direct realism, you see what a direct realism means. Someone who sees what they see. Okay, you see what. So by just looking at it in that picture, the first square color looks like it has a lighter shade of gray, and the one behind it is darker. So based on just on that picture, the conclusion drawn would be that the squares have both different colors, but in actual they are the same color. So from a critical realism approach, that person would say that no, it's actually the same color, but people perceive it as different colors because of what? You know, so there are more reasoning behind what they see, beyond what they see, right? Interpretivism approach is another terminology is constructivism research philosophy. So the ontological belief is that you have multiple truth, right? And you're using qualitative data, so that from an epistemological stance, you're using qualitative data to interpret those data to validate those truth, right? Now that is interpretivism research approach. Now if you look at the methods, what you can use is they're qualitative. Either way, they're qualitative. And the approach, remember the inductive and the deductive approach, right, is inductive. So you're actually forming, either you develop a theory to explain a certain phenomenon, which is different from positivism and also realism, where you have a theory already established and then you have your own hypothesis, and then you go out to survey to see whether that hypothesis is correct or not. Pragmatism research philosophy would have an ontological belief that there is single and there's multiple truth, or either one, okay? And what's the epistemological stance? How do you know this knowledge? You can use mixed methods, right? So whereby you have a measurable data, quantitative data, and you also have qualitative data. Okay? And similar like interpretivism, usually when people use that approach is because you want to develop a theory to explain something, to explain a phenomenology, right? Okay, so that's the end of the summary of research philosophies, so that you are pretty much a bit clear on how all these new terminologies are interconnected with each other. Thank you very much.